clarified.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on 7F through I? If not, Karen, before we go to purchasing, I don't think we've got the updated list of purchase items. I'm sorry? Thank you. Council, online, I think you do have an updated version. I think there's a total of 7 items. If you want to look online, don't use your list at the podium. I mean, at your desk this afternoon. Are there any questions on the current purchase items for this afternoon? All right. I'm not seeing any lights at this time. All right, council, if you look at your December the 21st agenda, what we refer to as our 2-week agenda, and let me know if you have any questions or comments on your 2-week agenda. I hope you will take note that we do have an appointment from the mayor's office for Public Works. And I would encourage you to, if you would like to set up a meeting, that you could talk with Mr. Hudka, I think is how you pronounce his name. All right, any questions on the 21st?
Yes.
Madam Attorney?
There was one other item from legal that you approved today that I just wanted to make sure everyone
Okay.
was aware of, the opioid settlement resolution. I got the email confirmation from Maria that you had approved that, but it doesn't look like it's on this printed one.
Yeah, well, I've got it on mine, on the 14th. I mean, on the 21st, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
Item C. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. All right, future considerations. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. The only thing, well, I have something to say, and then I have a question to you, Chair, that you could possibly help me with. Again, I just want to bring to the council of, again, item J, the resolution for our mayor to appoint Tom Hudka. I have a concern with our diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to employment opportunities. Every appointment that we've made has been a white man and one white woman to be in a position of influence in those positions. We've not, outside of Tony Salmons, who's already currently working here, and then we just, hired on Erskine Oglesby. But it seems since I've been on council and prior to that, we only have Black people to serve in that capacity over neighborhood services. But when we're looking at other positions of authority, we're overlooked. When we have people that, and I have mentioned this time and time again, I have spoken to Ryan about this appointment and, have a meeting set up with the mayor, and also plan to, schedule a time to talk with Tom as well. But it's very concerning when we're looking outside of our city for talent to come here and work, when we have people, I'm sure, that's within the city of Chattanooga or Hamilton County that's capable of working and being appointed to these positions. What I have noticed is that when it comes to positions that Black people clearly can qualify to be a part of, is that we send out a search that's a nationwide search. Well, outside of those positions, when it's someone that's a white man or anybody that's not Black, that we automatically roll them into those positions without even seeming that it's consideration for somebody to be Black to be in those situations. And I keep talking about this, like equity, diversity, and inclusion is more than just you guys saying we got a face to fulfill for that moment. It's more than that to me. And I get it. I understand that the mayor is constantly saying that he's still on board and on track to want to have 40% of his staff, but he uses the term people of color. And again, Black people are left behind in that melting pot of people of color. We've only had 4 Black people that's been either appointed or hired directly for this administration outside of the recycled Black people that are staying on staff from administration to administration. We're not even giving Black millennials or Black people of color that are millennials the opportunity to even work in government. And I have a concern about that. Our people are being overlooked, and we can't champion a fight to say that we want to raise the middle class Black community if we're not even willing to put them in positions of leadership or influence. We overlook them. We talk about it time and time on council, how when it comes to contracting, it automatically goes to our white men. Positions automatically going to our white men. They're being overlooked. I'm done with, oh, we want to look at experience, because I've clearly seen how this administration has hired more people that's inexperienced and are learning on the job. Black people should have that opportunity too. And I mean, I've already spoke to you about it. I mean, you really don't have to address it at this point, sir. And I'm not meaning that in a bad way, but it's, I'm tired of the let's put the Band-Aid on it, and just really want to see something actionable that's going to move people, Black people and Hispanics, to give them an opportunity. Because what I'm not seeing is that you're overlooking individuals that could clearly do an excellent job, and they're already excelling at these jobs, but they're being replaced by white people. That was my other, and Chair, my only other question to you, and maybe it's more of a city attorney. What is the process for council, the appointments that the council have to agree with the mayor? What is the process to reevaluate those appointments? Because I have some true concern. I'm not sure if you all are concerned about it, or even if it may be a concern that you have. And I get it, because we've been told time and time again that the mayor, he wants to select and put people around him that, okay, and I'm cool with that. But I think we need to really take a look, instead of just saying, okay, we're going to appoint people just because they want these certain people to be in place, that we really need to take a strong look at our hiring practices. I guess that's what I'm saying, or what's going on overall.
So let me back up and just ask Ryan if he first would like to respond to your comments, and then I'm going to direct your question to the city attorney. Since this is a confirmation, we're not really approving, but do you have anything you'd like to respond with at this point?
Just a couple things I would say, to the councilwoman's point. The mayor remains committed to working toward greater diversity within the leadership team and the 40% number. We're not done in terms of our hiring. There's still quite a few positions left to be filled, and frankly, it's a challenge. It's something that we welcome the partnership to continue to work through. So I think that's the biggest thing from our side, is that we continue to remain committed to it and work through it together. I also have with me, I know there's a request around the resume for an application for Mr. Hudka. So I have copies of that for each council member. We provided that over email earlier this week as well. So happy to provide that as we try to offer up the opportunity for folks to be able to spend time with him between now and next Tuesday. So that's it from my side.
Thank you. Madam Attorney, Councilwoman Coonrod raises a great question about the council's role in confirming an appointment by the mayor. You want to explain just a little bit, kind of the difference between approving and confirming?
No.
Nope, you're good? Okay.
What's the specific question? This
Well,
is
I
a
think
public works-
Councilwoman Coonrod's question was, uh, I I don't want to rephrase it, but I guess what authority the council has to take whenever the mayor brings an appointment to us. I mean, we obviously, we have a vote in this confirmation and
Mhm.
we can, we can confirm, or I guess we can deny. uh, What would happen in the case if we denied the confirmation?
Well,
Um,
Chair, I think, because we went through that once before when we denied the treasurer seat. But what I'm concerned about is how do we reevaluate the appointments that we've already said we in agreement with it? Do we get to reevaluate it? So if I was appointed to Public Works, do council get to reevaluate to say, okay, how is this individual doing? Or are we still on track with this person? Do we want to revisit that appointment? Do we have the authority as council to do that?
I do not believe so, Councilwoman. I think once we confirm the appointment, it is, at that point, the person is serving at the pleasure of the mayor, and it becomes his person to evaluate, not ours.
Okay, so in the future, is it anyways, the appointments that's the mayor and city council together, can we be a part of that process? Like right now, I feel like I'm being rushed to approve somebody, and now we're having to schedule a meeting and it's on the agenda for next week to be approved. Like we haven't had adequate time with the individuals. Like it just seemed like it gets thrown into our wheelhouse like, okay, we need you to hurry up and approve. When we need more time to do our homework on this individual to even see if we agree with it.
I guess we can always ask for more time.
Well, I would like to have more time, sir. I think a week, that's not giving us enough time to try to evaluate if we want to agree with this. I don't want to feel rushed. The Department of Public Works is a very important
Oh, absolutely.
position.
I agree.
And I want to make sure when I'm voting on that individual that I'm absolute making the right decision. I don't want to be rushed.
Can I answer the question?
Madam Attorney?
There is a provision for council to review department heads in section 8.32. It's a confirmation by a majority of the vote for a department head, and the city council may remove department heads and officials for cause after notice in a hearing and pursuant to a 2/3 vote of the entire council.
Thank you. I do that. I just wanted it to be read out loud. But thank you.
Well, then
You're
why'd you
welcome.
put me on the spot?
Well, because I just wanted to make sure as a chair, like you were aware of that. I felt like you already knew that, but thank you. I appreciate
But
that.
I think what she read is pertinent. It would be for cause, and I
Right.
think it would not just be, we didn't necessarily like his performance. Is that correct? Or is that considered cause as well?
It can
Okay.
be.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, any other questions or comments then on this appointment? Okay. Moving on to future considerations. Council, if you will notice, last week we had a little bit of discussion on the lease agreement on the Uptown building. Those terms have been revised under 1A, and it is on for January the 4th as of right now. Any questions or comments? I just wanted to bring your attention. I know several had comments or questions about the term lease, and I think that has been addressed. Councilwoman Hill?
Comment, I'm very pleased with the changes that we see in this future considerations item. Jermaine and I have discussed this, and I'm looking forward to seeing the lease. As I understand it, it's going to be pretty cut and dry, and no additional fees related to increases of rent on an annual basis, nor is there going to be a build out cost or any kind of balloon payment at the end of the lease.
Correct. There are some build out costs, but those costs are not extra costs in terms of the lease. So, but there are some tenant improvements that are part of the lease. That is correct.
You good? All right. Any, Councilman Ledford?
Thank you, Chairman. Jermaine, I think we caught you a little off guard last week,
That's okay.
and I think that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Because it stirred some conversation,
Sure.
and it got to a point where I think the taxpayers are getting a better deal.
Absolutely.
And I think that's part of our responsibility is to look out for contracts. We've done it before. I've personally done it before, to make sure that the taxpayers have not only choice, but that these terms don't extend so far out that they cover multiple terms or different mayors and councils and leave them with that particular situation. So thank you for working hard on this. Appreciate it. And I echo Councilwoman Hill's sentiments.
Thank you, Councilman Ledford. And I just wanted to say, Councilman Ledford, I appreciate you bringing that up and sort of reminding the administration of how the city council had felt about sort of the 20-year terms in the past. And so we will do our best to make sure that we don't see any more leases like that. There may be some outliers here and there, but that will be my focus, is to make sure that all of those things comply and make you feel comfortable. And really sort of reflect the benefit to our taxpayers. I also just want to make sure that I sort of underscore the point that the purpose of this building is not to sort of, and I probably used some poor words last week in terms of saying that this is sort of a growing of government. This is a realignment of government. If you look at the staff that will be here, this sort of concludes sort of our sunsetting of the Department of Youth and Family Development. It is always the goal of the Kelly administration to make sure that we are reducing bureaucracy. And so we want to make sure that we are creating a responsive government, not creating more bureaucracy. So I just wanted to clear that up for you.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Coonrod?
I didn't have anything for Jermaine. I wanted to ask about the short-term vacation rental that's on here.
Okay. So let me make sure that we don't have anything else for Mr. Freeman since he's up here. Council, any other questions or comments for Mr. Freeman before? Well, actually, you might handle the
I will
short-term
handle
as well,
the
right?
short-term vacation rentals
Okay.
as
All
well.
right, go ahead, Councilman.
And then we also have Caleb here as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I spoke with Caleb earlier today. And then I went and researched and found the resolution number 30659, where we request that the Land Development Office and the Chattanooga Hamilton County Regional Planning Agency to review the existing codes and provide suggestions on neighborhood limitations of non-owner occupied short-term vacation rentals. I have that here. To which I've asked repeatedly about when would that happen? When will we get that report? Or when can we work with them to determine some things? Now, also that we've had, not specifically these two, but in the Highland Park area, which Councilman Byrd and we share Highland Park, there's been some grave concerns about a property that under the umbrella of, that was grandfathered in because they were zoned R3 or R4. So when we have a R3 and R4, anybody can pretty much operate a short-term vacation rental, and it doesn't, letters aren't sent out. It's not coming in front of the council. So there's no way to get any kind of opposition because we grandfathered those codes in. And I would like to see if we can have that changed, amended to change. I know that it was grandfathered for them to be able to operate, but we need to be aware of, short-term vacation rentals in our districts outside of just somebody taking notice of traffic going in and out of these properties. And we made it back to where we wanted to get 4 objections before it comes to council, and that's cool, but I would like to have it extended. We give out 300 feet where we mail out letters, but if we can go a little broader than that, so more people in the community that will be affected by the short-term vacation rental, so they can get a notice. Maybe, if they in opposition, they can respond or they can contact us. So we can really have a better control of it. Not really sure. I talked to Caleb as well about, when we define what that means, density, like what are we actually looking for in that? But it's a growing concern in our neighborhoods, like they're operating, and we think they're operating illegally. But again, if they're R3 or R4, they can legally operate. So, I mean, can we change that, or is that just simply me introducing an amendment, Chair?
So Councilwoman, I mean, I need to go back and look at that ordinance. Just because they have an R3 or an R4,
Mhm. I got it printed out right here.
what is it? Okay, I tell you
and I can
what,
share
maybe
it
we
with
need to discuss this, maybe not next week in our strategic planning, but
when we
in
come back
January.
Okay.
Let's visit that and let's see if we can get, I know there's some things that we were looking at doing in regards to the non-owner occupied. But yeah, I don't think it was the intention to at least just because they are an R3 to allow them to do short-term
Mhm.
vacation rental. That was not the intention. Now, there were some people, the archaic way that we used to do it, you had to be in an R3 zone in order to do that.
Mhm.
But the intention was with this new ordinance that we would have done away with that, and you had to just go by a permit. I mean, go through the permit process. But let's look at that in January
Okay.
at a strategic plan.
All right. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, if I may add, we could also, if you would like Caleb and I to be there to sort of talk about enforcement of illegal short-term vacation rentals, we could also do that at the same meeting if you would like us
Yeah,
to.
no, get with me later and we'll try to figure out a presentation for our strategic planning on that.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Byrd?
Thank you, Chair. Since, if I may, since we're
Yep.
on the subject of this, Jermaine, I would definitely like to talk to you and Caleb. Not so much of the situation Councilwoman Coonrod was talking about with, having so many short-term vacation rentals in one area, but what we've seen just happened recently in Highland Park, where this guy has purchased a building and made it his address to live there. I've talked to Chris about it and Caleb, and now he's operating several owner-occupied short-term vacation rentals in that apartment complex. So he's put a hotel in the middle of a community,
Right.
and I think that's somewhat of a loophole that he's found to be able to operate that. And as I was talking to Chris, I know we can't go back and say, well, we're gonna redo it now, and now you can't do it, because that's how we end up in lawsuits. But
Right.
we need to sit down definitely also with the city attorney and figure out how we can make sure this guy is not holding this community hostage, allegedly, in a situation where he's doing this illegally and has created a hotel in this community.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Hill?
We've had several years now, or a handful of years now, of short-term vacation rental regulations, and I appreciated some of our conversation a few weeks back about the fact that it's time to look at it again. These two that are going to be coming before the body are in my district. I've had a handful this year that have come before the body. Short-term vacation rental, I believe, can add a really interesting positive element to our community. So as we look at this, I don't want us to have I'd like us to have a steady, thoughtful evaluation of it, rather than perhaps bringing individual amendments to the original ordinances. Because then I feel like we would have sort of a quilt of things, rather than looking at it as a whole to consider what really is neighborhood saturation. That's an anecdotal feeling, honestly, that we use right now. What is the actual financial impact that short-term vacation rental is having on our Chattanooga economy, because certainly people who come and stay at short-term vacation rentals like a local experience, and they're more likely to be eating at the hot fish place on MLK than they are to be eating at the Champies, simply because one's a chain and one's not. They both have great food, right? But it's a different kind of tourist that really wants to experience Chattanooga. Um, on the flip side, we've got to be really thoughtful about our housing options for people. And so to me, it's a very important conversation. And I like to make sure that the next iteration of the ordinance does it even better than the first iteration of the ordinance, because I think it was a really solid body of work that you guys did. Thanks.
So let me refocus our attention. We're on future considerations, and we were discussing items 1B and C, the short-term vacation rentals that will be before us on the 4th. Are there any questions about specifically those two items or anything else on our future considerations? And I think we can have a robust discussion about our short-term vacation rentals in our strategic planning in January. All right, we have no departmental reports this afternoon. Is there anything else that needs to come before this body at this time before we go into Parks and Public Works Committee? Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. You had went out of town when I discussed tabling the ordinance for the city court judge pay, and just want to recircle back around to see if you had an opportunity to get with HR or Brent to have your questions and concerns answered, because I want that to happen before I bring it off the table.
Okay. I have not at this time, but I will.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Councilman Byrd?
Thank you, Chair. I think we both received an email from Kay Baker about some updates to the Oversight Board ordinance. And I was wondering, when is a good time for us to sit down and talk about that? Will we need to do it in a public safety meeting or
I think a public safety meeting would be best. A committee
committee?
meeting would be best to have that in, because I think there are several amendments, at least that I think the park chair would like to present to the council,
Yes.
and we need to have a discussion about that in a full meeting.
All right.
So you want to schedule that in January?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That'll be perfect.
Okay.
So whenever the traffic is not too filled up,
Okay.
you can
All
slide
right.
me in.
Okay.
I understand.
Councilwoman Coonrod?
One last thing, Chair. I know we're trying to get through this, but I want to get it in before we end the meeting. Previously, I mentioned, and maybe back in the summer, of the city government taking back or doing a study or research about getting our city schools back. And I still want to continue that conversation. I think I kind of put it on the back burner in hopes to see if we would want to merge our government, but I want to bring that back as the conversation, because when I look at our literary scores, like we're, Horion, yay, we're a level 5 school. But when you look at the literacy scores, and we're at a -5% at schools that are predominantly Black, like we have to start raising that question about what's really going on. I think we're doing a lot of stuff on our end as much as we can to try to support our school system. But I really want to, since we have that MOU with UTC, to really research some things, the benefits of it. I mean, I've done a little bit of it. We don't even, it's not necessary or mandated that we have to, if that was something that we would want to do, that we even have to have a school board. We can oversee that. But it is concerning with what's happening in our school system. And I think we need to take a look at it.
Okay,
Well,
let
I
me
would
ask
like
you,
for council to take a look at it.
and I'm happy to have that put back on the strategic planning agenda if you're ready to have it on there.
Yes. for
What I
discussion.
would ask you to do is to present what you would like the agreement to say, the study to show or to present, so that this council could have a discussion on that. And then if there's a consensus of the council to send it to UTC, that we could proceed with it that way.
Okay, thank you,
All
Chair.
right. All right, I'm seeing no other lights at this time. So at this time, I will turn the chair over to Councilman Hester for Parks and Public Works.
Welcome to Parks and Public Works Committee. Can we approve the minutes? Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance first reading? 6U, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a portion of the unopened 200 block of Cowart Street in the 200 to 300 block of Tremont Street as detailed on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
Chairman.
Thank you. I meant to do this earlier. Mr. IT, I was getting a text that the audio for our live stream is not working quite right. Would you look at that, Lisa? See if we can make some adjustment to it so the audio is a little clearer. That was much earlier. I think we corrected it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I see no hands for 6U. Resolution J, please, 7J.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to purchase a permanent sanitary sewer easement and temporary construction easement from Andrew Yost at the address of 2707 Canacita Drive, Hickson, Tennessee, parcel number 110BB001.14, tract 4 Yost, contract number W19-007, relative to the wet weather storage facility, phase 6, Hickson, number 1 pump station, for an amount not to exceed $42,000.
No hands. K, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to purchase both permanent sanitary sewer easements and temporary construction easements from J.M. Simpson at the address of 2711 Canacita Drive, Hickson, Tennessee, parcel numbers 110BB001.11, tract number 5, and 110BB001.118, tract number 8, contract number W19-007, relative to the wet weather storage facility, phase 6, Hickson, number 1 pump station, for an amount not to exceed $37,400.
No hands. L, please.
A resolution authorizing for the Department of Public Works to award contract number R20-018201 to Vega Corporation of Chattanooga, Tennessee, Summit of Softball Complex Fire Detection in the amount of $51,400 with a contingency amount of $5,100 for an amount not to exceed $56,500.
Okay, next week, ordinance first reading 6A, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning 2 sewer easements located in the 2500 block of Gun Barrel Road, tax map number 149AB017.01, as detailed on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
No hands. Resolution 7C, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to execute the sales order number 121100547 with Electric Power Board related to the secondary power services for the influent relief pump station located at 122 Rolling Gap Road as part of Chattanooga wet weather storage facility located at Ham Road in the amount of $67,000.
Okay, no hands. D, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to award contract number Y21003201 to Integrated Properties LLC of Chattanooga, Tennessee, Warner Park Brick Fence Repair in the amount of $78,730 with a contingency amount of $5,000 for an amount not to exceed $83,730.
E, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Industrial Development Board for the City of Chattanooga for the design and construction of the multiple wet weather storage facility in order to reduce wet weather sewer overflows within the regional sanitary sewer collection system relative to a project called the Environmental and Economic Infrastructure Improvement Project, E2I2, in the amount of $125 million.
F, please. We have a hand. Councilman Ledford.
Chairman, I apologize. If I could back up to D, Mr. Stone, that wouldn't be the rehabilitation of the tennis courts at Batter's Place due to the tornado, is it?
No, it
It's
is
not
not.
project specified.
No, and actually, I'm looking at my agenda, and I'm
Tell you
trying
what, you check on it. We'll keep going. Get back with me later.
No, is this about the brick fence?
It is.
No, we had a vehicle accident that knocked down the fence, the concrete fence, so we're just repairing it. Has nothing to do with tennis courts. Warner Park.
Warner Park's not in District 4. Just in
Uh,
case any-
We asked to have that corrected earlier. I
Oh,
guess
it's
it
been
didn't
correct. All
happen.
right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. You're ahead of it.
Okay. F, please.
A resolution authorizing the renewal of contract number E18007101 on-call blanket contracts for architectural services, resolution number 29703 for year 4 of 4 with Allen and Hochschild Inc., Artec Design Group Inc., Durthick, Henley and Wilkerson's Architects, PLLC, Franklin Architects, Rardin and Carroll Architects Inc., and MBI Companies Inc., formerly TWH Architects Inc., for year 4 of a 4-year term with these 6 professional firms estimated at $1.5 million total annually for use by all departments.
G, please.
A resolution authorizing the renewal of contract number E18008101 on-call blanket contracts for structural engineering services, resolution number 29704 for year 4 of 4 with Allen and Hochschild Inc., Alfred Benesh and Company, CTI Engineers Inc., Estes Russell Engineering Inc., Integrated Structural Service Inc., March Adams and Associates Inc., and Balker Inc. for year 4 of a 4-year term with these 7 professional firms estimated at $1.5 million total annually for use by all departments.
H, please.
A resolution confirming the renewal of contract number E18009101 on-call blanket contract for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineering services, resolution number 29702 for year 4 of 4 with Campbell and Associates Inc. and March Adams and Associates Inc. for year 4 of a 4-year term with these 2 professional firms estimated at $300,000 total annually for use by all departments.
No hands. I, please.
A resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Tom Hudka as Administrator for the Department of Public Works.
No hands for that one, but please make sure that we do speak with Mr. Hudka prior to next week. Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Thank you, Mr.
Madam
Chair.
Clerk. Appreciate it. We're dismissed till 6 o'clock. Hudka. What is that? Hudka.